What's going on? This is Alex Wilder, and this is Wilder with Wilder. So I had to reset a little bit. I had to fix my notes to make sure that I'm giving you guys something super clean. And as you know, that these are the road to blue chip videos where I am trying to walk you guys through the step-by-step process towards the very intense blue chip action, the pumps, the dumps, everything that's going on right now in the VEVE-verse, and kind of where we are. So as you guys know, if you watched the previous video, I was able to snatch the Robin, Damian Wayne's Al Ghul for around 270. If you're looking at the market now, he's at about 385. And so as you can see, there was some really rapid growth in just a day's time. I think that was probably because it was Sunday, because people were focused, people were wanting the action, so they're kind of going for it. But as the latest trend that's been kind of going on, I've started to notice something. So if you look right here, and you can kind of see that we're getting into this 6 days of drops. Every single day is going to be a different issue for the Web of Spider-Man, this series of Spider-Man versus Kraven the Hunter, where if you guys are comic fans and if you've read this series, you kind of already know what went down. But one of the pivotal moments in the series for our web crawler. Now, and if you look at the covers, you can kind of get a gist of where this is kind of going. One of those big moves that they were trying to make, similar to some of the other great tragic moments of other characters like Superman and Batman, and I'll leave it at that. But in watching this, I started to notice this kind of weird trend when I started to focus on the comic books, because as you know from a lot of different investment advice, if everybody is looking in one direction, everybody's looking at Todd's, everybody's looking at Spider-Man's, everybody is looking at Superman's, where's nobody paying attention to? Because that's where you're going to be able to find your biggest uptrends, your biggest gambles. And as you can kind of tell, if you guys are new to the app and you feel like you're behind, so far, there are no depreciating assets. None. There hasn't been anything that has really significantly dropped below the listing price and stayed there for too long, even the Groots. So I grabbed one of the Groots at about 27, listing price is 40. It's back up now. Somebody even posted on Reddit and they said, I now own 1% of all available Groots. Took them all off the market, and in so many months' time, they're gonna shoot back up. They just will. Groot's too popular of a character. It's the first appearance on the app, and even though it's the holiday Groot, he's still fun, collectible to have. So I think that was a really smart move. Now the floor price on Groot's about 40. But I started to think about something with all the comics discussions. Like a bunch of people are like, what should I get? Should I get Marvel Comics #1? If you can afford it, yes. Should I get Fantastic Four with Dr. Doom? If you can afford it, yes. But they always say a couple things. Get the secret rare, or even an ultra rare if you can get it, or get the common. Get the secret rare, or get the common. Oh, you better get the common of Amazing Spider-Man #1. Get the common, get the common, get the common. And I'm starting to realize within this app, there is an unconscious, uncommon bias. I don't think people are realizing the value of the uncommons on the app. Let me see if I can explain a little bit more. So on this app, you have, the option of the different variations, and they're no more apparent than in the comic lines, but they're there in the collectibles as well. If you get a common, usually it's just one pose. If you get an uncommon, it's a slightly different pose. When they start to get towards the rare, secret rare, ultra rare, they might be animated or what have you. Now, in the comic book world, you're talking about different cover designs, sometimes from different artists, sometimes different special editions. And some that never exist or don't exist in the real world. They only exist inside the VEVE app itself. So I started really kind of like thinking about, why is it that people are overlooking the uncommons so much? I don't really understand. Now there's a couple of incidences that do make sense, and I'm gonna kind of go through just like 5 examples and let you guys make your own decisions. Now, this is kind of my own theory, but I think that there's something there, and I'm gonna tell you why towards the end of the video, of why I think it is important to strategically pick uncommon comics and uncommon collectibles, as many as you can get, for a lot of different reasons. So let's see if we can kind of do it this way. I know that it would be better if I could kind of put them on screen, but I can't. So I'm gonna kind of go off of my notes that I have here to the side, and we'll just kind of work with this. So let's start with a couple of the collectibles. The most recent collectible is Invisible Woman. One of my favorite characters in all of Marvel. Great addition, and this is her, the appearance of her classic character. Now her first appearance was the Marvel Mighty. So that one is slowly climbing, primarily because it's the first appearance and people are trying to get the sets for all the Marvel Mighty Fantastic Four characters all the way through Doom. But what I've noticed is after they dropped, if you look at some of my previous videos, you can see that her price dipped basically a little bit below the floor, or I'm sorry, below the listing price, and eventually kind of stagnated right at or just slightly above listing price. Now, right now, and keep in mind, all these are gonna fluctuate, but as I was kind of going through and checking, these were the prices on this character, right? So right now, her common is sitting at $65.99. That's the floor price for the common. So the list price was $50, common $65.99. Her uncommon is $61. Common $65.99, uncommon $61. Now I'm trying to pull up my app real quick because this was the only one that I forgot to write down the number of editions. Because I feel like that plays a part into it. So uncommon has 12,500, and her common has 16,500. So the price is lower, there's lower editions, and the pose is different. Now, let's go one step further. Deadpool, the commons are at 235, and there's 18,666 of them. The floor is 235, but the uncommon floor is it's over 100 less. It's 125, and there's 13,666 of them. Now it's funny because this one always comes up where people are like, oh, in the future, are we gonna be able to take the sweater off? In the future, are we gonna be able to do all this other stuff? Are we gonna be able to take the hat off? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's really the question. The question is, are you going to be able to have a Deadpool when there's no more Deadpools left? Think about it. The common Spider-Mans are up here. The uncommon are priced a little bit less. But there's fewer editions, and you're still getting a Spider-Man. And anything Spider-Man is gonna climb over time. Spider-Man is all Marvel collector fans. So it just makes sense. So before we make any conclusions, let's talk a little bit about like the comic books themselves. So a couple of other stats. Now keep in mind, these numbers are just as I was typing these notes about 5 minutes ago. So it's January 17th. I typed them about 7:45 p.m. Central Standard Time, so take that with a grain of salt. So the one everyone's talking about right now, Marvel Comics #1. The common you can get for $619. The uncommon, right, is $698, so it is more. But there are 48,000 commons and only 6,000 uncommons. Now, there's this debate kind of like between the collectors of, well, this is the original cover, it's fully colored, this one's black and white, people aren't gonna want it. But the rarity plays a factor. Now, this this I think is kind of fair when it comes to black and white. Oh, I don't really want the black and white version. Cool. But what if when it's like an actual slightly just a different variation, like those variants that you see in the actual comic book shops, maybe they're the foil types or they're on the shelf or the different artists. Those are fire. So another sleeper in my opinion is Avengers #8, the one with Kang. And we all know Kang is coming. I'm not going to get into too many reasons why, but if you've been following along with the Marvel Universe, you know that he's going to become a factor in this next Marvel Universe studio phase. Now, you can get a comment of this. The original cover, $328. There's 6,000 of those in circulation. So pretty standard, pretty fair price. The uncommon with the cool variation cover with Iron Man pointing at Kang, it's only $245, and there's only 2,240 of these on the app, period. That's all. That's it. They're not going to make any more so far. They're not going to do anything else. That's a huge disparity, both in price and in number of editions. And it goes on and on. One of the ones that I snatched for myself is X-Men #4. You can get the common for $65. There's 21,000 of those editions. But you can get the uncommon for just $10 more, $75. There's only 5,000 of those. And it's not a black and white version. It's not, oh, he's got an ugly sweater on. It's a cool variation with Scarlet Witch front and center. It's really wild. And if you look throughout the app, it happens again and again and again. Now, the reason why I think this might be happening is because I think that people feel like it's either all or nothing. You either have to strike out or hit a home run. You're going to hit a single or a home run, I should say. So they go for the common because they're super, super easy, or they're only going to go for the ultra rare, and then they'll settle for the rare. But they never go for a second base hit. They never steal. I don't get it. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. So one of the things that I've been kind of focusing on in between trying to get the big stuff, which I think is going to be the huge kind of secret sub steps to get to the blue chip, is by sniping these uncommons, hunting for the ones where you have the huge disparity, you have a cool variation, and barely a price difference, a lot of times a lower price. Like if I could have gotten more Deadpools when I first started on the app, I would have. Because as the original goes up, the uncommon goes up. So say it just sits. Say it doesn't have to surpass. I'm not saying the point of it be surpassing, but say you're trying to get into the Spider-Man realm and you can't get the common because right now it's like at 9 something, approaching like 1,000, right? Well, earlier yesterday the uncommons were at 775, and I think today they're at 8 something. And as this Spider-Man common rises, the uncommon does too. So if you can't get in here, maybe you can get in here, and now you have a Spider-Man 2. And eventually, when this 10x's, so will this. It may even surpass. And I don't even understand like why people have this weird preference. Well, this is the standard, like the common Invisible Woman versus the uncommon. I don't get why you would prefer the common, other than just to say, well, this is the standard, she's standing instead of making a pose. But it's like the rarity, the intrinsic value of it, the fact that you can get more for less, it just seems like an obvious play. Now, that for me is my thinking. You know, it's all theoretical. It's all me just trying to figure out what is the way in, because I'm not in it to like have and hold. I'm not in it to sustain. I'm trying to get to those high-end items, because that's where the true gains are really, really made. So how do you get to Superman? You got to reach for the rungs that you want to get. And you got to have a plan of what's your next step. So I have a couple of things in mind, a couple of different pathways. Like if it was mountain climbing, I know that I'm trying to get to the top, but I could go this way or I could go this way. And the mountain shifts. So the rung that I may be able to grasp, maybe I was going to grasp this common Mickey, but it's going up too high. Oh, but what do you know? This uncommon whatever that's going to take me to the next step is sitting right here, and I know it's gonna rise. And there's no real depreciating assets on this app. Not yet, not yet. So that's my thinking. I think that uncommons, there's an unconscious, uncommon bias occurring on the app. People are ignoring them, and this could be your opportunity to ride along with me all the way up to the top. So thanks for watching. I am Ilix Wilder. This is Wild with Wilder, and I will see you next time. Keep hunting, keep sniping. Let's get blue chips together. Peace.